Hi everyone, this is Dr. Pradeep Kumar. Today's topic is boiler feed water and its treatment. Actually, these boilers are used in the industries to generate the stream from the water. These boilers are used to generate the streams from the water which they can use in the different fields in the industrial. Okay, so that's why we need to know that as an engineer we need to know how the boilers can works and how the problems are there in the boilers and what are the treatments we have to apply. These things you need to know perfectly. So today's topic is boiler feed water and its treatment. This is the steam boilers. If you see here, this is the setup for the boilers. Here we have combustion chamber and water inlet. Here the water inlet is there. From this we are going to uh, put pour the water into the boilers which they can pass with the tubes. These tubes can pass through the combustion chamber. In this chamber we are going to apply heat to the water. So that's why we are going to generate the steam from this, and this steam can goes out from this steam outlet. Okay, then this steam can be used in the different various fields in the industrials. Okay, this is the general boiler setup, and we need to know here boiler troubles in the first we need to know the boiler troubles. What are the troubles we are going to face in the boilers? Boilers are employed in industries for generation of steam. If we use the raw water is directly to feed in the boilers, what will happen? Here there will be various physical changes and chemical reactions can occur. If we use the raw water into the boilers, there we can face various physical changes and chemical reactions are induced in the boiler with the action of the heat. Here we are going to apply the heat, then there will be physical changes and chemical changes can occur if we use the raw water or if we use the hard water. The ultimate result being the problem such as here we have uh, four types of problems are there, troubles are there. Here first one is carry over, second one is boiler corrosion, third one caustic embrittlement, and fourth one is sludge and scale formation. Okay, one by one we are going to discuss in detail. First one is the carry over. Carry over means here the process of carrying of water with impurities by the steam is called carry over. When we generate the steam, this steam contains impurities. This steam contains the generated steam contains impurities, that is known as carryover. Actually, this carryover is two types. The first one is priming and second one is foaming. Yeah. What is the meaning? What is mean by the priming here? When boiler is steaming rapidly, some droplets of liquid water carried along with the steam. When boiler is steaming rapidly, what will happen? Some droplets of the liquid water carry along with the steam. This process of wet steam formation is called priming. The process of formation of wet steam is called priming. It is caused by the presence of the large amount of dissolved salts. If we have the large amount of the dissolved salts in the water which we are using in the boilers, then we will get this type of trouble, that is the wet steam formation, that is known as priming. Improper boiler design also can cause to generate this priming. High steam velocities and sudden boiling also a reason to form this priming trouble. Okay, the priming means this the formation of the wet steam, the formation of the wet steam. It is caused by the presence of large amount of dissolved salts and improper boiler design and high steam velocities and sudden boiling. Suddenly if we boil these boilers, then we will get priming trouble. Okay. Yeah, priming can be avoided. How can we avoid this priming? This priming can be avoided by fitting mechanical steam purifiers. By fitting mechanical steam purifiers, and by avoiding rapid change in the steaming rate also we can avoid the priming. By avoiding the rapid change in steaming rate also we can avoid priming. And maintaining low water levels in boilers, maintaining by the low water levels in the boilers also we can avoid priming. Efficient softening and filtration of the boiler feed water. Efficient softening and filtration of the boiler feed water. If we use the efficient softened water in the boilers, then also we can avoid this priming. This is the setup which here there is a formation of the priming. Okay, by these by using these techniques we can avoid the priming from the boilers. And what is mean by the foaming? It is the production of persistent foam. It's a formation of the foam, persistent foam, bubbles in boilers which do not break easily. We cannot break easily these bubbles. This is known as foaming. Foaming means it is the production of persistent foam bubbles in boilers which we cannot break easily. It is due to the presence of oils and alkalis in the boiler water. If you use the water which is containing the oils and alkalis, then we will get this type of foaming trouble. Oils, alkalis react to form soaps which lower the surface tension of the water and increase the foaming. If you use the oils and alkalis react, form soaps which lower the surface tension of water and increase the foaming. Now, how can we avoid the formation of this foaming in the boilers? By addition of anti-foaming agents. By addition of anti-foaming agents to the boiler feed water like castor oil, we can avoid this foaming. Or we can, by the removing foaming agent like oil and alkalis in the boiler water, isn't it? The reason is the oil and alkalis which are a foaming agent. By removing these foaming agent, then we can also avoid this foaming, isn't it? The oils can be removed by adding compounds like sodium aluminates and aluminium sulfate. By adding these chemicals, sodium aluminates and aluminium sulfate, we can remove these foaming agents, that is oils or alkalis, isn't it? Then what are the disadvantages of priming and foaming? The actual height of the water in boiler is not judged. If we have the priming and foaming much more in the boilers, we cannot estimate the water level, we cannot estimate the height of the water level. And here the wastage of the heat also can take place, isn't it? Here we need to apply more and more heat or more and more much more energy to the boilers due to this foaming and priming, isn't it? That is, efficiency of the boilers is lower. It means efficiency of the boilers is lowered. The efficiency will be decreased in the boilers, isn't it? Then corrosion of the machinery is also taken place. Corrosion also will taken place. These are the disadvantages. And second one is boiler corrosion. What is the mean by the boiler corrosion? The slow and disintegration or decay of the boiler material either due to the chemical or electrochemical reaction with its environment is called boiler corrosion, isn't it? A slow and disintegration or decay of the boiler material due to the chemical or electrochemical reaction with its environment is known as boiler corrosion. What are the disadvantages of boiler corrosion here? Here we have some disadvantages of the boiler corrosion. Due to the boiler corrosion, shortening of boiler life. Boiler life will be decreased. It will get damaged uh, as soon as early. Okay, and second one is leakages of boiler can takes place. If you have the corrosion, the leakages also can takes place in the boiler, and increased cost of repairs. So that's why we need to spend much more amount on the repairs, isn't it, due to the corrosion. And what are the main sources of boiler corrosion are? Here we have some main sources for boiler corrosion. Due to the dissolved oxygen, due to the presence of the dissolved oxygen, and due to the presence of dissolved carbon dioxide and acids from dissolved salts. Due to these dissolved oxygen, dissolved carbon dioxide and acids from dissolved salts are the reason for the boiler corrosion. Due to the dissolved oxygen, what happened actually, water usually contains about 8 ml of dissolved oxygen per liter at room temperature. In the boiler feed water, there is a oxygen at about 8 ml of dissolved oxygen per liter of the water, isn't it? It attacks boilers at high temperatures. It attacks boilers at high temperatures. The boilers can use in the high temperatures, so that's why this oxygen can attacks. How it can attacks? If you see the here this reaction, this iron can react with water and oxygen and forms iron hydroxide. Iron is nothing but from the boiler made material, isn't it? Boiler can made from the iron. This iron can interact slowly with the water and oxygen present in the water, boiler feed water, then it forms iron hydroxide. This iron hydroxide can again interact with or again reacts with the water and oxygen and forms this rust. This is known as the corrosion. Due to this, the equipment of the boiler will get damaged, isn't it? And how to remove this dissolved oxygen? We need to remove this dissolved oxygen from the boiler feed water. Otherwise, we need to we can face the boiler corrosion. So that's why we need to remove the this dissolved oxygen from the boiler feed water. How to remove? By adding sodium sulfide, hydrazine and sodium sulfide chemicals, we can remove the dissolved oxygen. By adding sodium sulfide, hydrazine and sodium sulfide chemicals, we can remove the dissolved oxygen from the boiler feed water, so that we can escape from the boiler corrosion here, isn't it? These are the respective reactions. And second one is dissolved carbon dioxide. Due to the presence of the dissolved carbon dioxide in the boiler feed water, also reason for boiler corrosion. The dissolved CO2, the dissolved carbon dioxide in water produces carbonic acid, which has slow corrosive effect. Due to the presence of the dissolved CO2, this dissolved carbon dioxide can produce carbonic acid, which has slow corrosive effect. This is also produced inside the boiler if water contains bicarbonates, isn't it? Is it clear? This H2O, if you see here, can react with CO2 and form carbonic acid. This carbonic acid can react with the which are present in the magnesium, calcium, isn't it? Salts. This magnesium carbonic acid can dissociate into magnesium carbonate as well as this carbonic acid. Yeah, how to remove this dissolved carbon dioxide? By adding ammonium hydroxide, we can easily remove the dissolved carbon dioxide. By adding ammonium hydroxide to the boiler feed water, then we can remove this dissolved carbon dioxide. Okay, and by mechanical deaeration, also we can remove this carbon dioxide. That is, spraying water over preheated plates stacked in a tower. Spraying water over preheated plates stacked in a tower, we can remove this dissolved carbon dioxide. And third one is the acids from dissolved salt. Mineral acids are generated by the hydrolysis of the dissolved acidic salts. If the water is containing dissolved acidic salts, what will happen here? The mineral acids can be generated by the hydrolysis of that such acidic salts, isn't it? So there is a formation of the mineral acids can takes place. The liberated acid reacts with iron of boiler to form iron hydroxide, again subsequently get converted into rust. The liberated acids can react with the iron of the boiler to form iron ferrous hydroxide, subsequently get converted into rust. Here the small amount of magnesium chloride will cause corrosion of iron to a large extent. Small amount of magnesium chloride will cause corrosion of iron to a large extent. These are the chemical reactions which are related to the acids from dissolved salts. Okay, how to prevent the acid corrosion? Yeah, here we have some prevention methods. By HCl can be removed by adding alkalis. If we add some alkalis, diluted alkalis to the boiler feed water, then we can easily remove HCl from the boiler feed water. And by adding the different inhibitors to the boiler feed water also, we can prevent the acid corrosion. And by frequent blowdown operation also, we can prevent the acid corrosion. And by using the softening of the boiler water also, we can prevent the acid corrosion. And third one is the caustic embrittlement. What is mean by the caustic embrittlement? Caustic embrittlement is a phenomenon in which the boiler material becomes brittle due to the accumulation of a caustic substance. If a caustic substance accumulation is there in the boiler feed water, then the boiler material becomes brittle, isn't it? The boiler material becomes brittle due to the presence of the accumulation of the some caustic substances. The boiler's feed water contains carbonates and bicarbonates of alkali metals. We already know the boiler feed water contains carbonates and bicarbonates of alkali metals. This sodium carbonate, that is Na2CO3, used for softening of the water, decomposes to give NaOH and CO2, sodium hydroxide and carbon dioxide. We are using sodium carbonate, that is Na2CO3, to softening of the water. This can decompose and gives sodium hydroxide and carbon dioxide. And this is the reaction. For this decomposition, the sodium carbonate reacts with the water and forms sodium hydroxide and carbon dioxide. Actually, this sodium hydroxide is the reason to brittle the this material of the boiler. The sodium hydroxide concentration increases by evaporation and attacks the surround area, whereby iron dissolves as sodium ferrate. By evaporation of the water, what will happen? We are continuously giving the heat to the boiler. What will happen? The evaporation of the water can take place, and slowly this sodium hydroxide concentration increases. Due to the increasing of this sodium hydroxide concentration, the attacks the this sodium hydroxide can attack the surround area, thereby iron dissolves as sodium ferrate. This iron slowly dissolves as sodium ferrate, isn't it? This causes embrittlement of boiler parts, causing even failure of the boiler. Due to this embrittlement of the boiler parts, there will be failure of the boiler also is there. And how to prevent? These are the preventing methods to the caustic embrittlement by using sodium phosphate as softening reagent instead of sodium carbonate for boiler water. Instead of using sodium carbonate, we need to use sodium phosphate as a softening reagent. Then we can control the formation, then we can prevent the formation of sodium hydroxide in the boiler feed water, so that we can prevent the caustic embrittlement. And by adding Na2SO4 to boiler water, which blacks the hair cracks in the boiler, by adding the sodium sulfate, that is Na2SO4, to the boiler water, which blacks the hair cracks in the boiler, so that we can prevent the caustic embrittlement. And also by adding tannin or lignin to the boiler water, which blacks the hair cracks again in the boiler there, by preventing embrittlement of boiler pots. These are the preventing methods of the caustic embrittlement we are using here. And fourth one is sludge and scale formation. In the boilers, what happens here, continuously we are giving the heat to the boiler and boiler feed water. Then in boilers, water evaporates continuously and concentration of dissolved salts will be increased. Concentration of the dissolved salts will be increased due to the evaporation of the boiler feed water. When it reaches saturation point, they will precipitated on the inner walls of the boilers. After continuously giving the temperature, what will happen here, when it reaches the saturation point, they will be precipitated on the inner walls of the boilers. If the precipitation takes place in the form of loose and slimy, it is called sludge. If the precipitation takes place in the form of loose and slimy, it is called sludge. If the precipitation takes place in the form of hard adhering on the inner walls of the boilers, it is called scale. Okay, if it is loose and slimy, that is known as sludge. If it is hard adhering to the inner wall of the boilers, it is known as scale. If you see here, this is the boiler inner wall, this is the boiler inner walls. Here we are giving continuously temperature. What will happen, the vapor, boiler feed water can evaporate, then the concentration of the dissolved salts increases slowly, then precipitation can take place. If it is a precipitation which is slimy and loose, which are present in the water, is known as sludge. And if it is formed, the precipitation is formed to the inner walls of the boiler feed, sticky and hard, or adhering and hard in the way. So this sticky and adhering precipitate is known as scale. Okay, this is the boiler wall and this is the water. This is the formation of the sludge and this is the formation of the scale. And here, the what is the sludge? It is the formed at colder portions of the boilers. The sludge can formed at the colder portions of the boilers. It is the formed by substances which have greater solubility in hot water than cold water. The sludge is formed by the substances which have greater solubility in hot water than cold water. That is magnesium carbonate, magnesium chloride, magnesium sulfate, calcium chloride. This is the compounds which is reason for the sludge. It can easily scraped off with a wire brush. The sludge can easily remove by a wire brush. Okay, so here we have some disadvantages due to the sludge formation in the boiler feed water. Sludges are poor conductors of heat, isn't it? Sludges are poor conductors of heat and disturb the working of the boilers. So it is having the poor conductivity of the heat, so the efficiency of the boilers also decreases, isn't it? Is it clear for you? Yeah, sludges are poor conductors of heat, so that's why efficiency of the boilers will be decreased, and it disturbs the working of the boilers also. Now, how to prevent the sludge formation in the boilers? By using well softened water. By using soft water in the boilers, we can prevent the sludge formation. And by frequently blow down operation, by using frequently blow down operation also we can prevent the formation of the sludge. What is mean by the blow down operation here? Blow down operation nothing but the removal concentrated water through an outlet at the bottom of the boiler. Removing the concentrated water through an outlet at the bottom of the boiler by passing a fresh water. Okay, this is known as a blow down operation. By using this blow down operation also we can minimize or we can prevent the sludge formation. Now, what are the scales? Scales may be these scales are hard material and adherent or sticky to the uh, boiler inner walls. These scales may be formed inside the boiler due to the decomposition of a calcium bicarbonate. If you decomposition of calcium bicarbonate also is the reason for the formation of the scales. If you see here, this calcium bicarbonate decomposes and forms calcium carbonate, isn't it? The product which can form, that is calcium carbonate from the calcium bicarbonate. This calcium carbonate reacts with the water which is present in the boiler and forms calcium hydroxide. Calcium hydroxide is the scale compound. Okay, this is the way the decomposition of calcium bicarbonate also reason for the scale formation. And also deposits of the calcium sulfate. Deposits of the calcium sulfates also reason to form the scales. The solubility of calcium sulfate decreases with increasing the temperature. The solubility of the calcium sulfate here decreases with the increasing the temperature. So it is soluble in cold water and insoluble in hot water. It is soluble in the cold water and it is insoluble in the hot water, hence it gets precipitated in the hotter region. So that's why this CaSO4, that is calcium sulfate, can get precipitated in the hotter region of the boiler. And third one is the hydrolysis of magnesium chloride. Due to the hydrolysis of the magnesium chloride, then we'll get the scales. Then we will get the scales in the boilers. Magnesium chloride can react with the water and form magnesium hydroxide, which is a compound which is reason for the scale. And also presence of the silica. If the silica is present in the boiler fluid water, even if small quantity of silicon dioxide also reason, it may deposits as calcium silicate or magnesium silicate. These deposits adhere very firmly on inner side of the boiler surface, isn't it? The presence of the silica in the small quantity of silicon dioxide also is reason for the scale formation. So we need to check these free from the used boiler water or not. Okay, in low pressure boilers, calcium carbonate causes scale formation, but high pressure boilers, calcium carbonate is a soluble product. In the low pressure boilers, calcium carbonate causes scale formation, but high pressure boilers, CaCO3, that is calcium carbonate, is a soluble one. So there is no this scale formation in the high pressure boilers. What are the disadvantages of the scale formation? If the scale formation takes place, what will happen here? Wastage of the fuel can take place. That means efficiency of the boilers will decrease, and we need to give much more fuel or much more heat. So that's why the wastage of the fuel can take place, and lowering of boiler safety. The boiler safety also will decreases, and decreases in efficiency of the boilers also, and there will be a danger of explosion of boiler also is there due to the presence of the scale formation. And how to remove these scales? These scales can be removed by the chemical and mechanical method. If scales are loosely sticking, removed with help of the wire brush. If the scales are loosely sticking, then we can remove easily with the help of the wire brush by scraping, by frequently blow down operation. And also if it is loosely sticking, then if you use the blow down operation continuously, then we will minimize this formation of the scale. If the scales are brittle, it can be removed by giving thermal shocks. If it is somewhat brittle, then we need to remove this one by giving the thermal shocks. If the scales are hard, they can be removed with the chemicals. If the scales are the hard one, then we need to add some chemicals to remove these scales. Then which chemicals we need to add, we are going to discuss in coming slides. Here we have some differences between the sludges and scales. Here the sludges are softly loose and slimy precipitate, whether these scales are hard deposits. Okay, hard and sticky adherent deposits which are present on the boiler feed inner walls of the boilers. The second one is these sludges are non-adherent deposits and can be easily removed. These scales are stick very firmly to the inner surface of the boiler and are very difficult to remove. Remove of the scales is very difficult, but we can easily remove these sludges. And formed by these sludges can formed by the substances like calcium chloride, magnesium chloride, magnesium sulfate, etc. But and these scales formed by the substances like calcium sulfate, magnesium hydroxide, etc. And these sludges formed at comparatively colder portion of the boiler, but these scales form generally at heated portions of the boilers. These sludges decrease the efficiency of the boiler but are less dangerous. These scales also decreases the efficiency of the boilers and chances of explosions are also there. So that's why the scales are very dangerous than the sludges. Sludges can be removed by blow down operation, but these scales cannot be removed by the blow down operation. So that's why to remove the scales we need to give different methods, different techniques, or chemical techniques. The chemical methods also is there, which we are going to discuss in the incoming slides. This is a discussion about the boiler feed troubles, and in the coming lectures we are going to discuss about the how to overcome these boiler troubles. So stay tuned.